Hello everyone, and welcome to this unboxing video for Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game! Woo! Yay! So, as some of you may know, I really loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I did a review on it and everything. It was my favorite game of that year, and that was the same year that Breath of the Wild came out. So here's the board game. It's made by the same people who made Dark Souls the board game, something that I cover a lot on this channel, or at least as much as I can, Steamforged Games. And they also did the Resident Evil game. I just don't care for Resident Evil that much. But, so, it is just like those two, a miniatures board game, because really there are miniatures company that occasionally makes board games with miniatures. And this, like Dark Souls, I don't really mind if it's whether or not it's a good game. I don't know yet. I got it for the miniatures because you get the robots. A lot of the robots. I do have the entire game coming. I eventually, via Kickstarter and Pledge Manager, did pick up everything that is available to the game. They didn't do any retailer-only stuff that I still have to get two of kind of thing, like they did for Dark Souls. Just everything, including individual expansions that are the really big robots. None of the really big ones come in here, but we'll get around to that. So this is what looks to be a co-op game. The blurb on the back starts out, Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game, is a semi-cooperative tactical action game for 1 to 4 players set in the breathtaking world of Horizon Zero Dawn. Probably won't look as good because, oh god, is that game pretty. Assigned a dangerous quarry by the prestigious Hunter's Lodge, players choose a tribe and class for their hunter and embark on an adventure through the wilds. And it just continues on, but that's basically... So you're not playing Aloy, it's not a story thing, although Aloy is available for play, but it's basically pick a quarry, go hunt it, go have fun, rinse, repeat. Or at least it's, from what I can tell, what it is. Again, got this mainly for the miniatures. Regardless, let's get to the contents in the box. And this is only the core game. That's the only thing that has arrived so far, so one thing at a time. There is a lot more coming. Plastic out of the way, see how long till my cat plays with it. Also, regardless, this is a gorgeous cover. Like, I realize it's just, I think, a shredder, like, still image of one, but it's still gorgeous. Because, well, yeah, as much as the game itself is entirely gorgeous, the robots were the big reason I got into it. So we've got a rulebook with the same cover image. It's got a quick reference on the back, and it's pretty thick. Right, this is thicker than the Dark Souls rulebook, still nowhere near as thick as Kingdom Death, but that rulebook is a book. Still can't believe there used to not be a hardcover version of it. Tangent. So yeah, we've got all sorts of different kind of things in here. It is, to begin with, just the playable figures and robots, from what I can tell, in terms of miniatures. There are later expansions that I do already have on the way of cultists and things like that. The other types of enemies you would fight in the game. So it's not all robots. I don't know how they'll make that work. Like with many Kickstarters, I kind of back them and forget them, pay attention to the updates, so I don't lose my mind waiting on them. So I kind of hope that one of them was a story mode kind of thing, even though it won't obviously be the same one, but it'd be nice to have a campaign or something like that. So we've got bag and bags of bags. This is actually still always appreciated. I'd rather have this over the mass amount of waste. In fact, speaking of mass amount of waste, or lack thereof, there is a bunch of, and I think Dark Souls also did this, tile boards that are not plastic wrapped. Why do people do that? Companies, that is. So we've got 6.5 tile boards. It looks like there's some tokens for the watchers, these things. But I'm guessing that's for extra, because these look to be the only 4. There's some terrain, there are rocks on the other side. Circle, half circle, I'm not sure. I don't know what these are, but they're the same on both sides. And then these, I also don't know what they are. They look like, I'm guessing, status tokens, which are all this on the other side. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a randomized buff for the robots. So then we've got almost the rest of this is, and this has already fallen out, but that's not surprising because it's on board. But as I was trying to say, this is what the game is made of. Basically 9 space-boards that have their own AI pathing on them. This is what the pathing would look like with the focus in use, basically the detective mode of the game. And it's you're going to hunt and track things. But this has a bunch of tokens, which are 1 on one side, 5 on the other, fire or electricity. This is the same on both sides. And then these are, I'm guessing, armor, because it's got an A on it, what looks like a cracked armor shield. They're blue on one side, red on the other. I don't know if there's difference. And it's the same here. Obviously, it's a different tile, and these are different on each side. But the armors were labeled B, and I'm realizing that because these ones are labeled C, and the next one is D. But this one, other than the tile being the same and the letter difference, is the same as the previous two. The next one's not. The lightning and, I'm guessing, points tokens are replaced with chips, which are also 1 and 5. The fire on the other side also has, I don't remember what this status effect is, but there's another one. We've got what looks like alert tokens and the more of the chips and everything, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's meant to be a currency. And then what looks like to be Tripcaster tokens, along with the same kind of stuff. That's all the boards. Then we get to the non-cardboard components, because, yeah, I'm guessing that's the rest of the box. Which, immediately, that's all the miniatures right there, although there is 2 layers of this oddly shaped miniature tray. Choppy. It literally looks more like a cleaver than a tray. And then, which is, the lower part is actually, so it's not 2 of these. The rest of it is 1 tray with a lowered part that this fits onto. That's actually really nice. So let me get this out of the way, because that needs to be out of the way in order for the lid to come off. Ooh, that's a little stuck. I forgot Steamforged Games is the one that's just like, tape on everything! But, yeah, you can see. Boop. That's kind of nice, actually, for organization purpose, rather than just like, oh, we're going to do some oddly shaped stuff, because the tray here is not just miniatures, it's also holding the cards and dice, so all the other game components, and looks like there's meant to be space for all the tokens. This is a much better tray than, like, I'm guessing the dice and tokens go here, the small cards probably fit over here, because there's just a piece of foam here with the rest of the cards. But, as I was trying to say, this is a much better tray than Dark Souls the board game was, which was kind of a mess. There really wasn't much of a tray. There was just 2 cardboard containers with trays to hold the miniatures, and then everything else just goes in there. And then the trays were better for the expansions, but it also resulted in you needing to keep the expansion boxes around. Not like whether or not you're like, I actually put all of my expansion boxes in that cabinet because I might store other stuff in them, especially miniatures from other games or the same game in the case of Imperial Assault or Mansions of Madness. Like, I have 2 boxes for Imperial Assault that's full of nothing but miniatures, and then all the other game components are in a whole nother box. So let's start with the dice. These are actually very similar to, but not the same, not even remotely the same. I mean, just, they're similar in color and 6-sided, is what I mean, to the Dark Souls dice. There's also less of them. Oop, as one goes all over the place. So we've got 4 orange, 3 blue, and a black. I'm guessing the black is meant for ordnance weapons, honestly, because it's 3 sides are this, and the other 3 are blank. And that exists on other dice. I'm assuming it's a critical hit, because there are other dice. Like, so the orange die that I'm holding now has 3 single arrows, a double arrow, and this, which again, I'm guessing is a crit. And then the blue has no blanks, Oh, the orange also had a blank. 2 1s, 3 2s, and a 3. And again, that's already all the dice. I hope that this isn't as dice heavy of a game based on that quantity. Because, yeah, I don't really like having to buy extra dice sets unless they're actually different looking, and even then I'm still hesitant. The Kingdom Death I went kind of on an extreme on, but I can also repurpose those for any World of Darkness game, which is a D10 role-playing system. So let's move on to small cards, which look like resources. Yay, pull tabs. Although I don't know where the... Oh, there it is on the other side. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I really don't like vacuum-sealed card packs. You are likely to damage, and I even, with this, damaged it a bit. Just trying to find the pull tab. Of getting them open. Like, you're likely to split a card a little bit, or scratch up one on the front or back. So, yeah, we've got a... Yeah, this looks like all monster drop stuff, because it's all a torn apart robot, on one side. But yeah, we've got a few blazes, some sparkers. These are more references to the game than anything. Like, they don't really make too much sense outside of the game, but they're not really necessary to know. And also, they're not really too explained. Like, for example, the next one, chill water. Might be antifreeze. I don't really know. But it's like a thing with water in it that's meant to... that will do cold effects. And then the one that is actually self-explanatory and is, oh god, almost a lot of the deck. Like, yeah, that's about a quarter of the cards here are metal shards, and then the next 2 are just 2 metal shards each, and lenses, which looks like it has an any and a shard with it. And then we have a few other things. They've got the same backs, but they're all titled, and the first one is all description, while the rest are all an icon and a description. But yeah, they're all either really specific parts, or it's not dead yet. It still breathes, is literally what it's called. It is kind of hard to be able to tell when these things are killed, because they're machines. Alright, then again, there's that block of foam in there. These are actually more appreciated than random plastic, because this can be reused for packaging and stuff like that, be it with this or other things. Oh, and there's stuff underneath. But I was pulling that out so that it was easier to get to the standard size cards. I will get to the thing below that first, though, which is, honestly, looks like the monster cards, or, again, robot cards. I say monsters because that's a lot of the games. It's monsters. Enemies would be the better term. What I mean, like, a lot of games, it's just labeled as monster. Alright, so, last I remember, these are double-sided, although many of them are just the image on the back and the name. In fact, all but 2 of them, which are the bigger ones, are just exactly that, but we've got the Watcher. Oh, and these all have stats on the front. I just want to hold up the clearer image. Strider. Horse-like thing. Scrapper is not what was on the cover, but that's what's next. And these all have a very specific reason to be the way they are. It actually is one of the really interesting things about the story, and I can't wait to see more of this kind of stuff. I actually still have yet to play the DLC. Really should, but I'm half tempted to just get the PC version now. But also, Grazer. Looks like a gazelle. Shellwalker. Looks like a crab. These things are basically walking loot crates. And Sawtooth, the cover enemy. But as you can see, the Shellwalker and Sawtooth have stats on both sides. It's either a harder version, or they get stronger, or weaker, or something. Like, they change as the fight goes. Alright, so, again, standard size cards. We've got 6 packs. Because I believe, looking at this immediately, I would guess that this is a card-based system more than a dice system. Just the fact that the first one is stamina, which is draw a card, which is already reminding me of the Dark Souls, the card game, which, yes, I know I still need to do overview videos of, and will try to, but that is way on the back burner. I want to finish up the rest of the miniatures game first, or at least the non-Mega Boss expansions, which is on the front of my queue. So, yeah, half of that pack, or nearly at least, stamina. Same image on all of them. This is the back, which is an icon that has already come up. And it is not the same back entirely. In fact, it is 3 separate backs amongst these, one of which being that again, which is Plastwire. Then we got Hoarder Satchel, which is the same image as Stamina. Shard Gambler Box, a thing from the video game. Full Health Potions, and... Okay, I'm guessing these are the starting classes, or your starting decks, or something like that. Because we've got Nora Marksman, and that has the icon, and that's when the icon changes. And yeah, we got Nora Spear, Hunter Bow, Nora Protection Light, and then what looks like a skill tree? Yeah. It looks like it's an XP tree / skills tree. There's the Scavenger that's the trait there. That's all of them, in fact. That's not all of them, but yeah, to my knowledge, this has an upgrade tree rather than just upgrade stats like Dark Souls, the board game, did. So you more customize your character. Then we have Desrim Forgesmith, Desrim Hammer, Tripcaster, Desrim Armor Breaker Light, and then its own thing, skill tree. So again, my guess is you make a deck of cards, and then you go from there, and then some things have you roll dice. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the dice are actually meant for the enemies. Because, honestly, it makes me think move. Alright, but the next pack of cards, we've got... Again, I'm assuming this is actually the common back, or just the actual deck back. Is that the entire thing? Yes. But we've got Resolute, which has no image on it. A Karja Hunter Bow. Warbow, Sharpshooter Bow, and it just goes into weapons and then a bunch of armors. And then we have coils, which are basically their version of socketing gems into the game, which is all that. And it's a bunch of random things like damage coils, tear coil, fire coil, freeze coil, and then some resist ones being, those are increased defense. And then we got some specific arrows with hardpoint, firebomb, fire arrows, shock wire, Hoarder Satchel, yay, regular health potion, some Karja weaponry. It's a lot of the same stuff over and over again. The armors are almost always using Aloy for them, I believe, or similar. It looks like Aloy because I can see the hair coming down, which makes sense. That she does wear a lot of armors that no one else does in the game. Especially that one fun one. Which part of me wishes she didn't repurpose it and just left it as is. I'm making reference to a late game thing in the game that you can unlock. But then we get into the Banuk, which is the Banuk Survivor, who has their usual things with a tree. I'm willing to bet, because this is the same color, this is their starting deck. Again, I don't actually know how this game plays. I apologize. But then we got a bunch of arrows, some more cards that are just texts. In fact, that's what almost all of that is. And these are all still the generic back, is what I'm guessing. Yep, and then more. Yeah, I would go over these more, but again, I don't fully know their purpose, so it would be a waste of time for you guys as much as me to just be like, If people would like me to go over these in more detail at some point, please request that, and I will do so. I have to double check, but I think I already have permission to show this game off, because I think I asked for their general permission, but I might have only asked for Dark Souls. More the same kind of stuff. Some melee weapons. More text-based cards that, again, I would have no clue what the context are. I wouldn't be surprised if these aren't actually put in here in order. That makes sense. There is a number to them. Oh, that's not a number. That's just... It looks like C6, but it's CG for core game. But they do a decent job of leveling what is what expansion for organization purposes, at least with their other games. So, yay! Not that it's been needed for the stuff that they made before they did board games. And they primarily just do board games now. In fact, they canceled recently Guild Ball. Some more coils, more arrows, more gear. Ooh, and then more weapons that are purple text. Which, if anything like the game, are actually the rarer stuff. And then the last pack of cards. Which has the Karja Warrior, and her stuff is actually the only normal deck stuff in here. The rest looks like actual enemy and gameplay stuff. So I believe, from what I recall early on, these are all the randomizers for here's the map. So that was one on the front, but like you can also get ones that are only 2, and then there's some 4s. And they do off-center many times. There's very few times that they're like that, where they actually line up. So you get a completely random thing, and it makes a lot more difference than the tiles from Dark Souls do, which are kind of... they're basically all the same. In fact, I still kind of regret getting the extra tiles out. But then we've got this card back next, which looks like a thing that adds more of a kind of storytelling element to it, but not an actual campaign or set story. It looks like it's things you come across in the process. So we got Lucky Break, Hold Satchel, Testing Your Metal, Indomitable Spirit, Resourceful, Clear Heads Prevail, Never Too Prepared, Taking the Lead, Erratic Behavior, Vital Strike, Sabotage, Fool Aaron, Only Fools Rush In. That's funny, coming right after that. Poor Scouting, Impetuous Start, Opportunist, and Expert Tracking. And these all have different art images associated with them. And then we get on to some cards for the enemies. So we've got one each for the Watcher, Strider, Scrapper, and Grazer. These have nothing on the back. These look more like what they do before they enter combat, like just their passive mode. And then we've got 3 for the Shellwalker and 4 for the Sawtooth. So no, these don't look like they're passive anymore, but it looks like various different things. It's basically, these look like they're AI. But that's all the cards. Those back in that spot, which leaves plenty of room to be able to sleeve them. And then on to the miniatures. You know, the meat of the game, the thing that most of you are probably really here to see. Again, Steamforged Games. Stop with the tape, it's pointless. I think if my game box busts open, I have other issues than whether or not the miniatures are going to go flying everywhere, like it not arriving. That's only 2 pieces. Alright, so... oh, this is a tiny scale. So, I literally have some Dark Souls figures right here, because I've been working on Darkroot Garden lately. Here is one of the Darkroot Garden basic enemies. About the same size as one of the playable characters. Here is one of the playable characters in this game. this is one of the tiniest scales I've ever had to deal with. At least he'll be easy to paint. But we've got one of the playable characters here, who's an archer. And we've got one with a spear, a lot more armor to them. And we've got the one with the hammer. Even more armor? I already don't remember the names of any of these. And one with a polearm, poleaxe, and about as much armor as the first one. Then we've got a watcher. There's 4 of these in total. The details are still very nice for the size. A grazer. Yes, has canisters on its back, and I believe has things on its head too. Other than, like, the antlers are actually useful things. There's 4 of those. Then we've got 4 striders. Or basically horses. In fact, you can use them like horses in the game. And we've got 4 scrappers. And the bigger stuff, shell walkers. They're just kind of all over the place and like how they act, what they actually have. There's 2 of those, and there are also 2 of the sawtooths. Are just big and angry looking, and just for a finalized scale. So this is still pretty big compared to this, but yeah, this is about as big as the medium-sized models that I see in Dark Souls or the large base models in War Machine Hordes. But that's everything in the core box. I'm a little surprised by the scale. I expected the same scale as or similar that I see in most miniature board games. This is actually really small, and while that's disappointing for the character models, it's very nice for the robots. It means they won't take long to paint regardless. I think I'm going to paint them in my dark paint scheme that is similar to what I use to Dark Souls, but that's because that's how I do a lot of metallic based things where it's just like they shouldn't really have color to them, but then the object source lighting that I get to do, so specifically lit up areas, is going to be really interesting. While the characters, I will be painting my normal paint scheme, which is what you see me do for Kingdom Death Monster primarily. But like I said, that's everything this time around. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to press the like button. If you think somebody else will enjoy this, feel free to share this video. Either way, it'll help this video get seen more. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and press the dislike button. I won't mind, but please leave a constructive comment as to why. Even if that is, you didn't say much with the cards, because I have no idea. I'm sorry. Also, feel free to comment in general, such as if you would like to see more about this game in general, be it a how to play or review, painting videos, detailed overviews, just feel free to ask and I will try to get around to it eventually. Especially with the painting stuff, because this is just going way on the back burner. Just like almost any game that comes in right now. And if you'd like to see more like this, be it my unboxing videos, my board game overviews, my painting videos, all 3 of which I'm willing to do for this game, and anything else I might do on this channel, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.